So hello everyone, welcome. My name is Gustavo Razzetti. This is the How to Lead in Times of Crisis webinar. I hope you're doing okay. So before we get started and as we get more people joining us, do you mind using the chat there on your right side and share with us where are you joining us from? I'm here in Chicago. Of course, I'm working from home, as most of you probably like enjoying these interesting and challenging times. So we have another person from Chicago. Welcome then, Wallace. And as you continue to share with us, Uruguay, so South America, great. LA, England, Monterrey, Mexico, Canada, Guelph, near Toronto. That's amazing. So it's great to have people from all over the world. And as we get more people joining us, I'm going to start sharing my presentation. Here it goes. Give it a second. Have people from Ohio, Torino in Italy, Lexington. That's great. Okay, so we're going to get started. Once again, thank you for joining me today. This is How to Lead in Uncertain Times, the online live masterclass. So as I mentioned, my name is Gustavo Razzetti. I'm the CEO and founder of Liberationist. Liberation is a change leadership consultancy. And basically we help teams and organizations build a positive culture, a healthy culture that drives positive results. And we help organizations become more open to innovation, more adaptive, and to thrive in change. So now more than ever, this is the perfect occasion to talk about how we can lead in times of uncertainty. And thank you, Nina, for the happy birthday wishes. Yes, this is my gift for you guys to be here, like giving this masterclass. And thank you for joining me on this special day for me as well. So I want to ask you a question. No? Everyone's worried about what's happening today. We don't know how long this crisis or issue is going to last, for how long we have to stay here at home, no? And this social distance thing. But what's the thing that you miss the most? What's the thing that you want to do the moment things get back to normal and this crisis is over? Once again, you want to share with the using the chat and let us know. I can tell you, I want to start traveling again. I had to postpone a lot of classes in different cities that I had planned for the next months. So I'm wishing that things get back to normal so I can get on a plane and start visiting some of you and continue giving my workshops across the world. But what about you? What is it that you like to do once this crisis is over? What is it that you miss? So set a new long-term view of the company, go out and meet up with friends, getting together with friends for the week, drinks and snacks, see my patrons and colleagues and brunch, reignite clients. Everyone's very cautious. Yeah, I hear that. Human contact, go to restaurants, go on a family vacation, trekking in the mountains. I have a pizza. Well, you can cook that. Maybe 2 pizzas, visit my elderly man. That's fantastic. So as you can see, everyone's facing this disruption, and that's what we're going to see today. But the most important thing, and this doesn't mean to be a positivity message, you're not powerless. We're not powerless, and we can regain control even before this age of uncertainty finishes. And before you ask, so I'm not here to give you all the answers. I don't have the magic solution. Actually, I don't think anyone. Because what I mean, like, no one has an answer when this is going to end, how this is going to end, and what the new normal is going to look like. But what I'm going to share today is a framework, right? Basically, some tools, some structure to help you reflect and find your own solution during these uncertain times. And this webinar is about leading. And some people reach out and say, well, I'm not a leader, so can I join? I say, you know what? Everyone can be a leader. Leading is not about a title. It's not about a role. It's about stepping up. It's about having influence on others, and it's about doing the right thing. It's about acting. And we're going to see today that in order to lead others, first, we need to lead ourselves. So we're going to focus a little bit on retrospective. What can we do better as human beings, as professionals, in order to then lead others into the right direction? I will presenting, as I mentioned before, a framework, a structure for you to then filter and see reality through that framework that I use a lot with teams to move them into action. We're going to be discussing how can we address our emotions so then we can regain control and start living by focusing on the things that we can control, because there are many things that are completely out of our boundaries nowadays. How we can turn this crisis into a growth opportunity from an individual and, of course, professional standpoint by experimenting and, of course, growing. At the end of the session, I'm going to leave some time so we can address all the questions you have. So I mentioned a framework, and this is it. And it's a framework that I adapted from acceptance commitment therapy, which is called From Fear to Dare. When we talk about fear, fear is an emotion, and it's okay to feel afraid. Actually, fear is like a signal, no? So if an animal is going to attack us, or if we're walking at night in a dark place and we hear a noise, of course, we're going to feel fear. And that's like a signal telling us something might happen, no? But then what we control is how we react to that fear. And fear is about fighting. Fear usually paralyzes people, and we start fighting reality rather than try to understand, is that noise a real threat, or maybe it's just a noise? Excuses, no? When we lose control and we were afraid, most people start blaming others. They start trying to figure out who's responsible for this crisis, who started it, this country, the other, versus saying, you know what? That's it. We are really facing this. So how can we, what can we do about it? Fear is about avoidance. Instead of facing reality, we try to escape from it, and we shut down, and we fall in this repetition pattern that rather than try to grow, we get inside ourselves a rehashing conversation, rehashing event, rehashing emotions, and we get stuck and more stuck. The notion of dare, I'm going to explain with the graphic now. Dare stands for 4 things: discovery, autonomy, reframing, and experimenting. And I'm going to explain the 4 of them and give you some examples and some tools that you can apply right now. Discovery is about self-awareness. It's about understanding what are the things about ourselves that we're missing. And of course, we need to involve other people to give us that perspective, that feedback. It's moving from blind spots, from the things that we're missing, from the things that we cannot see, to turn those into bright spots. It's about regaining autonomy, basically recurring action, no? Let go of excuses, let go of blaming, let go of confusion, and take action. Reframing, then, it's a powerful tool because we are always facing limitations, we're always facing lack of control, we're always facing obstacles and constraints, and we can just react to them, or we can turn those into something powerful, like, for example, a superpower. And last but not least, experimenting, that's the magic part of all, no? It's about how can we move into action, how can we try new things, learn new things, make mistakes, and learn and grow from those mistakes, versus being caught in this overthinking or fear. And of course, this is a cycle, no? It's not I go through this and then it's the end. It's always, no, in personal and professional lives, we're always going through this process. So we're going to start with the D, that stands for discovery. You probably have heard that people are hoarding stuff, right? People are buying every hand sanitizer, now it's mask, every a roll of toilet paper they can get. I mean, we're getting crazy. And I understand the fear. What I don't get is the panic. And we're going to discuss the difference between the two. And this is an interesting image from a supermarket in Denmark that basically is telling people, you know what? If you want 1 bottle of hand sanitizer, you're going to pay it in Denmark currency, the equivalent to $409. But if you want 2 bottles, well, you're gonna have to spend a little bit more, 95. And I think it's a smart reaction. I don't know if people are gonna stop from buying like crazy, but I think it's a smart reaction to make us wonder, look, what are we missing? Why are we trying to buy everything like if it's the end of the world? Yeah, this is a huge disruption. Everyone's working remotely. People are afraid. We're losing control. But that doesn't mean that we need to lose control of our actions and start acting selfishly and forgetting that other people might need things too. So hoarding and overreacting is not necessarily the right way to go. And when I use this line, I usually use this line with regular teams that are struggling to work together and say, because they're fighting the facts, maybe they're out of control because their boss cut their budget, their competitors are being more innovative or moving faster, or whatever the reason is, people fight that. And I say that we're at war with reality, and now more than ever, no? So face it, I mean, we cannot change some things, but at least we can control how we react to it. There's an illusion that we human beings have that we believe that we're in control. I mean, we have a routine, we have some structure to our lives, certain patterns, certain repetitions, and we feel that we control what's happening. No, we anticipate we're going to go on vacation. That someone mentioned we're going to go trekking in 3 months from now, and at that particular approach, it feels that, you know what, we control our life, but that's an illusion. It's an illusion because most of the things in life are not within our control. But in a situation like this, where this virus has taken the whole world by like an explosion that happened, this huge disruption. I mean, we've seen many disruption, but none that has happened at a global level so fast, so quickly, and in so many countries, despite age, religion, socioeconomical level. I mean, everyone is basically facing the same kind of reality. So one tool that we use a lot with teams, and now people are using it, I've heard a lot with families and their friends to deal with this situation, is what we call the stinky fish. This canvas, and I didn't mention this, but we're gonna send after the webinar, not only the recording, but also the links to download all the tools I'm going to be sharing, and also like a guide helping you use it on your own or with your teams. And this is one of them. So this tool is about addressing the problems that we usually don't want to talk about. And because we don't talk about those problems, they start to stink. You know, it's like a fish that starts to rot, and the less that we take care of it, the more it's going to contaminate not only the fish itself, but everything else that's around it. So we need to talk about these stinky fish. So you're going to work on this on your own later. And actually the way this webinar works, and people told me that because this is the second time I run it, then they go back to the recording and they get back to the explanation, they can use the tools. But for now, I want you to address one of the 4 questions on this tool, which is, what's making you feel anxious or afraid right now? Think about the situation that we're all facing and share with us on the chat what's making you feel anxious, what's making you feel afraid. So we have one talks about overall health. There are so many unknowns, the time it might take to get back to some sort of normality, job safety, the state of the global economy, uncertainty. No? So a lot of things that basically how long the financial implications of this will last, how my job is changing, and reading your responses. Huh? Isolation, people not complying with needed measures, new epidemics, afraid to lose people, no? My employees, family, without being able to visit them. What will the new normal be? As you can see, different stuff, but we're all feeling different types of uncertainties, different fears, different things that cause us to feel anxious. And the most important thing is, first, we need to become okay to feel these things, you know, because many times we don't allow ourselves, and especially in the workplace, I mean, if you're the leader, a team leader, or you're a senior executive, and actually sometimes parents too, if you're the head of a household, a dad, a mom, whatever, and maybe you feel, I know what, I'm not in the position to share with my people my feelings because they're gonna feel that I'm weak, or maybe that's not gonna help them. But you know what, it's okay to feel. It's okay to feel, but also it's okay to share with others your feelings, because that's the way that a leader allows other people to feel whatever is affecting them. And it's okay to feel grief. One thing that we work a lot with teams when going through regular transformation, I call regular transformation in opposition to this disruption. And basically many times, any transformation is like grief. It's like the loss of something. We're losing maybe power because we feel we're not in control. We're losing business as usual. We're losing people. We're losing maybe our office because our company is moving from a close to a more open space environment, or there's a merger and acquisition, and we feel people that we're going to lose our purpose, we're going to lose our identity. So there's grief. And I hope none of you have lost anyone during this situation, but this is really, we're feeling like that. Everything that you just share is grief. We feel that life, some people feel that it's about to end. Some people feel that my normal life ended and I don't know what's going to happen. So we need to get used to you're going through grief, and your team and your family too. So you need to start having these conversations to address, like someone says, the uncertainty, the threat of death, because that's grief. So there are two ways to react. And I'm not saying this is black and white. I'm not saying it's easy. Some people lose their mind, and that's okay. But the point is, how can you regain control? Because you can control what's happening outside of your life, but you can control your reaction, your response. So there are two ways to react. One is using fear in a regulated, self-regulated way, fear as caution. As I mentioned before, fear is an emotion. It's like an alert, a signal that tells us, oh, maybe something bad can happen to you. So focusing on prevention, taking care of yourself, that's perfect. What's not great, when we let fear become panic and people start buying things and they start sharing stuff without filtering them, and they're always watching the news and on social media and rehashing stuff and getting obsessed about things, because then this panic paralyzes us. And not only we are afraid of ourselves, but also we start being afraid of others, And we see people as the enemy, and these people is going to, I was reading yesterday a news that it was really frightening, that some people here in the US, they felt that one guy had the coronavirus. They weren't even aware of it or sure, but they just suspected it. So basically they cut down a tree on his own yard to make sure that the guy couldn't leave his house. First of all, they didn't know. Second, it was his house that they invaded and cut down a tree on his own property. And third, if the person actually needs help, how is he going to get to the hospital? Because now the guys basically put an obstacle in the middle of the road. So there's a lot of stories like this, but fortunately, there are also a lot of positive stories of people that are stepping out and trying to get out the best of themselves. So one quick trick, that many psychologists use with people during regular times of anxieties, but I think now it's better than ever to use it, is what Dr. Jill Bolt created. That's called the 90-second rule. There's a chemistry reaction when we're feeling an emotion, right? And it's kind of a chain reaction that lasts 90 seconds. So what we can do is either lose control and within those 90 seconds kind of start reacting like crazy, or we can stop, take a deep breath. You can do it now, no? So take a deep breath, and then another, and count to 90. And once those 90 seconds are gone, then your mind, your body is going to be relaxed again. You're going to be able to take control of your thoughts, how you think, and then act. So you can act here right within the 90 seconds and do something crazy, or you can stop, pause, breathe again, let those 90 seconds go, and then you're going to be in control. You're going to be more calm to make the right decision. So acting like a leader, it's not only about being able to meet and be okay with your own feelings, but it's also okay to let others express their feelings. It reflects, because the mindset and the tone and the emotions that you bring to the table is going to inspire or hinder other people's ability. So are you approaching people from a place of anxiety and make them more anxious, or are you bringing calmness to the table and approaching people from a place of calm? People need you to be empathetic, no? To try to, don't assume everyone's going through a different crisis. It's hard. Some people are lost. Some people are recovering control faster. So try to be supportive. If you're leading a team or within your own family, I mean, it's going to take time. I mean, some people take a lot of time to readjust to this situation. So be patient. Provide a space that you're not judging, a non-judgmental space where people can share with you what's happening without being criticized or judged. And don't assume that you know what they need. Ask, how can I help you? Each people, if you're running a large team, might need something different. Don't assume everyone needs exactly the same. Another thing that's important is helping others, especially in times of crisis. It's draining. And so take care of yourself. No, it's important to sleep well, to exercise, to keep your, it happens to me as a consultant, a lot of people that read my stuff are reaching out, asking for advice. And you know what, I don't have, even if I want to, I don't have the time and energy to take care of hundreds of people reaching out via email or website every day. So, and also if I try to help everyone, then what about my family, my own? So you need to balance that. If you put on your oxygen mask and you take care of yourself, then you're going to be able to create a larger impact on others. If you, fall into burnout, then you're not. Going back to the second letter of this acronym there, it's autonomy. No? Autonomy, it's about regaining control of what we do, no? And we can control basically our choices. So I'm going to share another tool that's called the regain your power canvas. And this tool is very powerful because it invites people to work here on the top and realize that most of the things in life, and now even worse, are out of our control. They usually make us feel limited. They make us feel powerless. No? So we need to start putting post-its and writing everything that falls down. What are the things, I cannot control my boss, I don't control the economy, I don't control the coronavirus, everything that's out of our control, and why. But the most important thing about this tool is then we flip it. It's like a judo take, no? So and you put everything that's not within your control underneath, and now you can focus on what's within your control, no? And you can start sharing if you want, what are the things that you can control? Because the most important thing to regain action and regain control is focusing on the things that you can manage. You cannot manage the economy, you cannot manage the job market, you cannot manage the coronavirus or how your president, wherever country you're in, reacts. But you can control little things. And if you start focusing your energy into the things that you control, you're going to start seeing a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. So what are the things that are under your control if you want to share with others? And of course, you can then go and do this exercise. It takes usually like 15, 20 minutes to go through the things that are out of your control and then get into the ones that you actually manage. So go ahead. What things do you control? So how we spend time. That's someone from Laxita. What do you choose to think about or spend time of? My self-care. As you can see, the more you start digging and thinking, you're going to start seeing that there's a lot of things that you can manage, your personal time, who you engage with and how, your diet. Thank you for sharing. So once again, focus on the things that you can control and you can manage. One thing that's important is someone talking about social media, being disciplined, Building a routine is critical For me, the most critical thing, I mean, I've been working remotely for many, many years, but it's waking up at the same time. You know? So people say, I don't have anything to do. I mean, I think everyone has things to do, but everyone, even if you need some time to readapt to the new situation, keep your sleeping time. I mean, our body adjusts to a sleeping pattern, no? So if you go to sleep the same time every day and wake up at the same time, you're going to sleep much, much better than changing those hours, because that's how our body works and our mind. So it's perfect to keep that into mind, no? Start with a routine that Nina is sharing with us as well. Pick a place, even if you don't have a room to make your office, I don't care if it's a corner, but try to choose a place where you're going to be working. Don't switch it. Ideally, if your house allows it, or if your department allows it, try not to work from the place that you sleep, so your mind doesn't get confused. Now, so the room is to sleep, your dining table or your office, if you have one, or another room is for work. So try not to mix those, because then you're going to find some difficulty building that divide between work and rest. Structure your day, set clear goals, and start from there. No? So protect your time for thinking, researching, and doing other stuff. No, like we usually should do. Another trick that for me is powerful, it's a 15-20 minute nap. It's the most amazing thing that you can do. I mean, I work a lot, I write a lot at night, and for me, this notion of, sometimes I don't do it every day, but once a month or twice a month, taking a nap, 15 minutes, you wake up and it's like a new day starts. I'm feel really re-energized. And especially if you're under stress or lost, I think this is a great way to reset your body, to reset your mind, and start over. My definition of mindfulness, we talk about mindfulness is a powerful tool, so how we control our focus, being present. Is like we need to have our mind where our body is. If you're trying to rest, if you're trying to sleep and you're lying on your bed, no, and then you're thinking about what happened earlier in the day, or you're thinking about a meeting you're having tomorrow, or how the economy is going to look like, or whatever, then you're not resting. No, the same way if you're here in this webinar and you're thinking about what's happening next, then you're not being present. So you're not doing well in this particular situation that you're trying to learn new skills, and you're not doing well because you're not going to solve whatever happens in the future because you're not there yet. No? So this notion of focusing on the present is really, really important. So instead of worrying about what might happen that's out of our control, instead of worrying about what happened that's already gone, focus on what you can achieve today, right now. This is my motto, and I've been sharing this with a lot of people, because this is like a transition, and the transitions are going to affect us, and they can affect us in a good or neutral or negative way. It all depends on our reaction. So don't wait for the crisis to finish. Prepare for when it's over. So this is a perfect time to reflect. What are the things that are working or not from how you've been doing business as usual, no? In your family, in your professional life. Challenge your routine, no? Now you're experimenting with new ways of working, with dealing with this situation. Try to identify what are the things that are working and not. What things can you bring back to your normal life when we regain that moment? Challenge your habits, no? What are getting in your way? What things that are helping you? What are things that you need to get rid of? In these uncertain times, we all need to adapt. We all need to learn. So what skills do you want to learn? So a lot of people are signing up into any workshop, an online course, and whatever. That's not the mindset. So be mindful, because most of those people then don't attend any. So they just sign up and then they don't attend. So before signing up for trainings like this, think, what are the skills and things that you want to learn? What are the strengths that you need to polish, or the weaknesses that you want to overcome? And then once you have that clear list, go and focus on finding how you're going to develop those skills. So reframing, as I mentioned, is the third part of that framework. And reframing is about changing challenges, changing constraints into a superpower. So there was a time that or the automaker was facing a lot of issues because they tried to, basically, they were competing at the 24-hour of Le Mans, and they were doing really bad. And basically because many other people, many other automakers were having faster cars and they were beating the crap out of these guys. So at some point, they realized, you know what, and this was the chief engineering officer, he realized we're not gonna be able to build a faster engine. So that's out of our control. No? That's a constraint that we have as a manufacturer. Some people are smarter, whatever, they have better technology. But he said, so why don't we start thinking about how can we win the 24 hours Le Mans race without having the fastest car? So then by reframing the problem, right, they started thinking different avenues. So as you might realize, the 24-hour race in Le Mans means that cars need to be running for 24 hours. Of course, from time to time, they need to stop and refuel because no car can run for 24 hours nonstop. So these guys that couldn't design the fastest engine, they instead designed the most fuel-efficient engine. So they reduced the number of pit stops needed for them to continue racing. And by doing so, they were able not only to win once, but 4 times in a row. So this is about how can we use this reframing mindset. Okay, stop thinking about what you cannot do and reframe and rewrite the challenge. So this is how they do it. How might we win the race without having the fastest car? So there are many things that you can do to reframe your reality. The most simple starts with the words we use, because the words we use play a very important role. They shape, according to neuroscientist Andrew Newberg, basically, the more that we think in positive words, the more those affect our brain, and then they shape how we think. So for example, people are talking about social distancing that has a lot of negative connotation because they feel that we're getting rid of people. We need to think of physical distancing. Instead of thinking about isolation, think about this as a time for us to be protected from a virus. Instead of thinking of this time as a pause where we are paralyzed and we're on a waiting mode, right? This is a time for us to incubate, to create new things, to learn. Instead of many people here, I'm bored, I don't know what to do. Well, this is time for us to create new things, launch new products, create a new you, experiment with new behaviors. It's a time for creativity, write something, build something, and turning this crisis into an opportunity. We can reframe the context. For example, it feels that this is the worst time ever because we haven't maybe lived in worse time, but you know what? Humanity has survived a lot of even worse plagues, So the bubonic plague killed 31% of the European population in just 1 year. That was in the 14th century. The Spanish influenza killed 1 out of 20 people, So we're in a much better shape. I'm not saying this is an excuse, but sometimes when we see things in context, in perspective, we can regain a little bit of control. The same about yourself, So think about crisis. Maybe you had an accident, or you lost your job in the past, or you got divorced, something that went, or you lost someone that you loved. So think about other crises. I always try to do this exercise. Think about past issues that I faced that at that time felt, oh, this is the end of my life. A couple of times I was very close to dying, and I survived. And basically, I'm getting back to that moment, thinking, okay, I've been in worse times, I've survived crisis. If I did it once, I can do it now, So that's kind of the thing, Another thing is reframing the story, What story are you telling yourself about what's going on right now? And what story do you want to be told of you once this is over? Do you want to tell yourself a story of, you know what? I was afraid, I lost my time, I didn't know what to do, I was crazy, I was panicking, or you know what? I realized it was a time for me to become a better person, to learn, to help others, and use that wisely, we have here someone share about how the University of Cambridge was shut down during the Great Plague of London, and Isaac Newton was forced to stay at home, and he invented calculus, the optic theory, and many other stuff, no? So where other people were complaining, the guy was thinking, so what's the mindset that we wanna, or the option we wanna choose, no? So the point with adversity is some people break and some people thrive during adversity times. And this has nothing to do with being strong, with grit, no. Resilience is not an innate trait. It's not something that comes like a chip out of birth. And there's a lot of research that shows that basically it's an act, a mindset that we can build and develop. And to do that, basically we have to train ourselves. We have to work on it. No, there are examples of people that were scuba diving, and I'm a scuba diver, so I'm not talking about, they weren't newbies. There were people that have a lot of experience, but at some point they died because they thought they were running out of air. They were afraid. And then when people were doing basically the research and try to understand what happened, they realized that they have at least half a tank left. So their mind basically killed them, not the lack of oxygen, okay? So resilience is about the ability that we have to rescue ourselves from adversity, and it's how we reframe. So a lot of research shows that people that are resilient, that remember the boys that were stranded in that cave in Thailand, that they have to survive without food, barely oxygen, and in very extreme conditions, it's how they were able to reframe that situation, in that case through meditation, relaxing, and didn't allow panic to take over them. Another way to reframe is, how can we reframe our role, no? We can either feel a victim, like powerless, and say, why is this happening to me? You know what? It's not happening to you or to me or to someone else. It's happening to everyone. So it's not personal. And this is something that happens every time. Now, when we're facing an issue, people say, why is this happening to me? Well, it's not like the universe sends you a message that wants to attack you or harm you or make you feel miserable. It's an opportunity for us to become powerful. And how can we turn this experience into a learning experience, no? What can we learn from this event? So I'm always reflecting, okay, what is this telling us about humanity? I think that we are recovering the need to collaborate and help each other. I think that people loved being in social media, but now they miss the face-to-face event. I think there were a lot of people that were criticizing technology, and now without technology, we wouldn't be here sharing how we're feeling, working together and try to recover, no? So there's a lot that we can learn from this experience. Think about it. How can you help your team? Your team can be your work team, your family, your friends, whoever needs your help. And you need to be reassurance. That doesn't mean saying, guys, everything's gonna be fine, but at least show that there's some lights at the other end of the tunnel, bringing clarity. Invite other people to reframe the situations, like I was sharing a moment ago. No, you can share those tools and those approaches and say, you know what, put some context. This is not what about you. We've been through tougher times. We're gonna get over this as well. But in order to do that, we need to work together. It's also important to ask for feedback. No one knows what the answer is. And I think the best leaders in today's world are the ones that are reaching out to others. No, I think that this is another signal that we're living in a global world, in a global economy, but the leadership, it's still thinking like very on their own terms, no? Very few leaders are saying, guys, how can we solve this from a global standpoint versus everyone taking care of their own country? No? It's a funny time that the UK, I'm not getting political, but the UK decided to leave the the European community like a few months ago, no? This is another reminder that together we are stronger, no? So we need to stop thinking about isolation and my country, my world. We live in a global world, guys, and the more we think and approach, especially when we have pandemics and issues that are global like this, we need to approach it from a global standpoint. We cannot let that everyone find their own solution and see what happens. But that's me. Another tool that we use this with companies a lot, is a simplified version of our culture design canvas. So we streamline the tool, And we're helping teams use this tool to rethink how they can reframe their experience to work remotely. So very few companies actually are prepared to work remotely, and those that were, very few had everyone working remotely under these circumstances. So we need to think what are our priorities, the tools that we use, etc. How can we use rituals to keep that water cooler conversations through virtual tools in order for people not to lose that sense of community. A lot of people feel isolated. They're not used to work from home. Some people live alone. And so how can we basically using this tool reframe what are the needs, no? What are the issues that are affecting our teams, and how can we redesign the culture to work remotely? I'm working with a lot of clients and people say, you know what, people are gonna figure it out. No, man, this is not about technology. This is not having Zoom and other tools. And then now we're finally using Slack, like you at last. Or we're using Mural or other tools. Yeah, collaboration tools are critical. But if you don't design how the team are gonna work, if you don't flex your policies, I mean, like people are expecting the teams to work from 9 to 5, like if they were in the office, but they have to homeschool kids, they have to take care of their issues, they're stressed out. So you know what, let your team find their own way to work from home and focus on, are there results there or not? If the people want to work at 2 in the morning and that it's okay, and they get work done. So this is a challenging time for everyone, especially for leaders that they need to let go of power and help their teams adapt to this new reality. You know, this is an example of the tool I was mentioning a moment ago. So going back to now, going to the last portion of this, which is experimenting, no? The learning zone, leaving our comfort zone has a lot of a bad rap, no? Because a lot of consultants and people say, you know what, you need to get out of your comfort zone, no? Like get crazy. And a lot of people get afraid because they feel that getting out of the comfort zone, it's basically losing, no? It's losing control, it's doing something crazy, it's putting our own lives at risk. And that's because we think there's either a comfort zone or a danger zone. But you know what? There's an in-between stage that very few people know, and this comes from a lot of research, I think created it, that it's called the learning zone. So you can stretch beyond your comfort zone, you can experience new things, you can grow without putting your life at danger. So a lot of people say, I'm not gonna leave this stage because it's risky. No, going to the extreme is here, but everyone has their own comfort zone. How can you get beyond it? How can you stretch beyond it? And what are new things? Because now you cannot stick here. This is not good for any regular situations, but now more than ever, if you don't challenge yourself, you're gonna suffer more. So use your creativity, no? So this is an example of people playing bingo despite the physical distance, no? So someone smart were able to reaccommodate, they're still connected, they're playing bingo, and they're enjoying their time and they're not isolated, no? So this is a smart way of how can we create social connection, no, in your life despite physical distance. This is another real life picture from last week, a kid attending kindergarten through Zoom, video conferencing. And you can see on the screen all the other kids with their parents as well, and the teacher, and they're trying to replicate the experience as much as possible, to keep learning, to keep interacting, but also to keep that social bonding alive so the kids don't kill their parents, but also they have to continue living life as normal as possible. Another opportunity is collaborating with strangers. And we've seen a lot of images like this, people singing from balcony to balcony and all that's moving images. But also these are nice, beyond the social media hype with these lovely videos, this is an opportunity, reach out to people that you would never reach out for help. And I've been having this in the past week, talk to your competitors. Usually we see our competitors and we're after the same clients, we sell the same products. But you know what? We're all suffering from the same issues. Many of you mentioned earlier before that clients are not buying, that you're trying to get back to clients and clients are busy with your own disruption. So Well, talk to other consultants. Maybe you can put together some offering together. Maybe at least you can exchange ideas or insights or whatever. So this is the time to start challenging our framework, instead of seeing strangers as weird people. People are really stepping out a lot. I see that. And also trying to help a lot of people that reach out of the blue for advice or whatever. Don't forget the sense of humor. No, I'm not saying that we should minimize the crisis, but when we take reality too seriously, we end taking ourselves too seriously, and we're just going to screw up, and creativity needs humor. So a little bit of light humor and distance. And there's a psychologist that she works with cancer patients, and she invites them and their families to have a cancerless day. I mean, she's not magically removing the condition, but she says, you know what, one day at least a week, you need to stop talking about your condition, you need to stop thinking about this, and life needs to go on. So try to forget. It's not denial, it's an exercise of reframing and say, for one day, forget about cancer and see what happens and what are the things you can put your energy and fun and passion into. So I also invite you to do the same. Try to see one day, forget about coronavirus, turn off the news, turn off social media, and think about something else. Your life goes on. There's so many things that you can focus your energy. So try what it would look like to live one day without thinking about coronavirus. How can we use our strengths in this time of despair? I mean, as I mentioned, a lot of people are being really, really generous. A lot of people are helping others and putting their energy to contribute. So this is a brewery from Scotland that's called Punk. No, the brewery is, well, the co-founder is James Watt, and they create this gel, and basically they stop manufacturing beer for a couple of weeks and start manufacturing nothing to do. This is not even a business opportunity because they're doing it for free, and they're donating this to hospitals that need hand sanitizer. No, Brew Dogs. Thank you, David Evans, for I forgot it. Yeah. So this is another example of how can we use our strengths and help other people. So wrapping up, leading your company also in terms of uncertainties, forget about business as usual. Many of you mentioned, I'm waiting for things to get back to normal. I would say, forget the normal times as we knew them are gone. Something new is going to come out of this. We don't know what that is. It's not going to be fully remote. It's going to be a blend. A lot of industries are going to be disrupted. A lot of jobs are going to be lost, but turn into something different. So forget about business as usual. The only thing I can say, and I work with a lot of teams on this, is not making decisions, not acting. It's the worst thing that you can do. Inaction is more expensive than making mistakes. So it's better for you to start launching new stuff. We do a lot of in-person things, but now we create a lot of workshops, masterclasses, stuff online with new tools, and we're experimenting. And some are working more or less, some are doing perfect, some, well, we say no one wants them, we discard them, and next. This is time for you to experiment. Think about new offerings that you can offer. Who can you help? Who can help you? Join forces. And this is another tool that I recommend a lot, which is building a success partnership. So basically, find a partner in crime. You need more than ever someone that can be your go-to person, that partner in crime that you can call and help each other. So this is not about you, it's about the two of you. This is about a partnership. Research shows that when you have a success partner, your chances of achieving something now triple. In that sense, use this tool, and I'm going to send you, as I mentioned, the way to fill it and work. It's once a week, meet with someone, the same person, share your challenges, how that person can help you, what are the partnerships, what are the goals that you're trying to achieve, what are the obstacles, the doubts that you have, the question you have, and that person can be your personal coach, and then shift roles, and then that person shares their own challenges, and they can become your own partner. So building an accountability partnership is super successful. It's really great within teams, but it's important during times of uncertainty. So wrapping up, this is their framework I share, starting from discovery phase, recovering, regaining autonomy, being in charge of our own acts. How can we reframe the context, the words we use, the challenges to turn those constraints, like audit it, into a superpower? And last but not least, we need to embrace experimentation. In normal times, I say, guys, you need to do it, no? Because we've been preparing some teams luckily for this, and I'm used for this kind of uncertainty. I thrive because I love, but I know many people are worried. Well, you know what? This is a perfect time to start getting more into this behavior of experimenting and moving beyond your comfort zone. So build resilience, and as I mentioned, resilience is not about, I'm gonna be strong, I'm gonna fight it. Think about past issues, past challenges, and how you were able to overcome those. Think about what are the things that you need, how can you reframe the problem so you're in control? Because resilience is, instead of thinking, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna lose my job, it's about, okay, what can I control, reframe that challenge, and that's gonna make you stronger. So before I wrap up, I'm gonna ask you a question. I'm gonna be discussing this in the Q&A, but I hopefully these tools and this framework and the insights I shared are valuable to you, and you can use them, and I hope you can experiment and see what happens, because in the end, we should be asking ourselves, what's the version of ourselves that's gonna come out of this storm? You know, this is a storm, this is a crisis, and this crisis is gonna transform us. It's up to us to take control, to regain control, and define how we want to come out of this storm. So, quick shout out, because some people ask us, hey, what do you do? How can I help people? And we do many things. We work with a lot of companies, but in today's reality, there are two things we're doing a lot, and we're coaching. My team is helping, especially not me, like coaching individuals and teams that are having issues in this situation to readjust to the new normal, to give them exercises and advice, and listening to them and help them like go through this process to regain control of their personal and professional life. And we also have a virtual workshop that is a 3-hour workshop that's helping teams rethink their reality, basically addressing what are we struggling through with in these particular uncertain times. We have to work remotely by force. Now we were forced to become remotely overnight. So what mindsets, emotions are getting in the way, what processes are getting in the way, and help them redesign. So this is more of a coaching design session to help the team redefine how they want to work together. It's not about providing the 10 top things you need to do, because I don't think in those kind of approaches. It's basically guiding the team through this uncertain process, drive clarity, help them understand what's going on, and help them design with our help the best way to move forward. So once again, I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank you for spending the time with me. I know everyone's busy and trying to figure out, and I hope you find some value in all the time that we spend together. And now it's time for us to talk a little bit about if you have any questions, and I'm happy to address those. And if you have something that you forgot, you can always click on here and go to my email and send me questions. If you haven't already, we have a lot of tools and posts on our blog that you can check with a lot of advice and tips. And we have a first question here from Naina saying, how do you identify the right success partner? I think that there's no perfect partner. I think the best success partner depends on you. First, the person needs to be willing to be honest. Some people like to work with people that are similar to them, no? So, and some people thrive, actually most people thrive when they look someone that's completely opposite, because that person is gonna help you see things that you're missing. So having a person that has a different approach is gonna help you open up more possibilities, no? One thing that's interesting, Naina, in that exercise is that you need to define how that partnership is gonna work. So there needs to be commitment on both ends in terms of how you're gonna meet, to make sure that that person is gonna be there and do the work, and you're gonna help that person as well. There's also this, there's a part on this tool that it's about defining what type of help do you need. Some people need someone that challenge them. Some people need someone just to listen to them and be there and be compassionate and give them a pat in the back. So you also need to define not only who's the person, but most importantly, the type of what do you mean, relationship and challenge. So David is asking about the slides. We're going to be sharing the recording of this webinar that includes the recorded slides, and also I'm going to send you an email. You're going to get an email from our system that includes links to the different tools and stuff. We don't share slides per se because we have very bad experiences. I'm sorry for that, but many people start using our slides with their names and think a lot of stuff. And long story short, we share the recorded slides, but not the slides per se. Someone's asking if we're offering the Remote Proof Your Team course in Spanish. Yes, we do. And that course is not an open course. It's basically, it's a session per team. So usually we have teams that are 8 to 12 participants on each session. It's a 3-hour session. It's basically designed, we have a framework, but we tweak it a little bit and we adapt it to each team in particular, because we also do a little bit of research and interviews before running the workshop. So if we can do it in English, which we do most, and we can also do it in Spanish as well. Priscilla is talking about, could these sessions be held online with our teams? Which sessions, Priscilla, if you mind? Which particular sessions? We have a lot of workshops that we're doing online. If you're talking about the accountability, yes, you can do accountability through video. And our coaching, yes, we do coaching online mostly, yeah. It's all via video. And the culture canvas and everything, yes. It's all, the offerings I share you, we're doing all the work online for now. In terms of discovering blind spots, there are many techniques. One of the links I'm gonna send you is it's an article I wrote with a lot of 20, 30 exercises on mindfulness and self-awareness, and it includes one tool that's called the Johari window. And basically that's a tool that it has some questions, so you get to ask people feedback, what they think about you, and then they provide that feedback. You answer the same question, and then you compare what people are seeing from you. So I don't want to explain, it's a little bit long here, but you can send me an email. I can explain. The 90-second rule, I forgot the name. I had it handy, but now I don't have it. I can send you it later. So if I miss something, you can always email me and I'll make sure. So Erica says that she loved the judo model. Thank you. It's very powerful. When we do that in a room with 20, 30 people, and they boom, flip the canvas and they say, you know what, now I'm like a judo take and now I'm in control. That's really, really powerful. So I appreciate all the thank you notes. Grateful. So I mentioned Laxita, the Johari window, asking for feedback, no? Typical, ask people, what can I do better? What am I missing? If you were you, what would you do myself? So start asking. Feedback is the best way to uncovering blind spots, no? So I see a lot of thank you notes. You're making my day, guys. I really appreciate it. I think that we're all spending time in occasions like this. This is the second time I run this webinar. Last time it was we had 300 people registered, because so we decided to do another one because there's a lot of need. And our work is not just about helping companies, helping people. And so I'm excited to make sure that we can add some topics, insights, and tools to the conversation, because everyone needs help. I need help too. And but this is what we do, so it's fun to work with you guys and have you today. No, so I see some familiar names, some social media people that have taken programs or courses with me in the past, and some people that I don't know, but now I know. So great to have you all. So we're running out of time. I have some willing room, but if you, and thank you, Andy. If anyone else has any questions, comment, whatever, this is the time. I can stay for a little bit longer if that's needed. And if not, once again, feel free to send me an email to gustavo@liberationist.org to talk about this webinar or anything that you need, and we can help you. Thanks, Irene. Yes, we need heroes, but we need regular heroes, no? We don't need heroes with a cape. We need everyone to step and hate. So we have someone looking forward to our live class in Toronto. Yes, that's scheduled, and I'm very positive that's going to happen. We had to postpone a couple of master classes. in Toronto and in Vancouver. London still owns, but we're going to be there. So yeah, looking forward to meet you guys in person as well. Yes, the hero inside of all of us. That's Irene. That's correct. Yeah, that's what I was referring to. I think that everyone has that power to take care, no? If we're offering a culture canvas webinar, yes, we have one class, Cheryl, this Friday, and we have one that's April 3rd, and we have another masterclass on May 1. So we have 2 or 3 openings for this April still. Cheryl, if you want to, I mean, I can send you the link, like send me an email. I know everyone's having like travel restrictions, but we built a very interesting online class that's going to be live with a lot of exercises, and you're going to be breaking out in rooms with other people. So you're going to try to replicate the same experience, but through different tools. So yeah. So this is fantastic because we have people from Canada and from the US and Europe that are joining the first one that we're doing this Friday. And so we have a couple of openings still for that. And May we just open registration for May 1st, which is another class on that. And then we have a lot of online workshops, as people were asking, that are in company, but virtually in company. No? So, okay, guys, I'm gonna be closing the video communication. I appreciate, and once again, wait for the recording with all the exercise and stuff. And it was great to host you, and have a great day, and continue fighting the good fight. Stay safe and stay positive. Bye-bye, everyone, and thank you again.